Turning to the protests in Ottawa, would you ever consider sending the army in to end the protests? Is that an option that you think is viable?
Our focus is on being there to support the police of jurisdiction, support the City of Ottawa and the Government of Ontario. We will, of course, look at any formal requests they send us. But in our preoccupation remains being there for the citizens of Ottawa, the neighborhoods that have been significantly disrupted by these protests and by these protesters, people going to school, people going to work, small business owners being harassed for wearing masks, being faced with hateful rhetoric. As a federal government, the RCMP has been there to provide support to the police of jurisdiction, the Ottawa police. And of course, we will be there to respond to any formal requests from either the city or the province.
I'm left unclear in understanding whether you think the military, though, is an option. Are you saying that you would be, or you are entertaining, or could be the next Prime Minister Trudeau to deploy the military within Canada for such a demonstration?
There were questions a couple of years ago around military when it came to other protests that were blocking critical infrastructures. My answer then is consistent with my answer now, that one has to be very, very cautious before deploying military in situations engaging Canadians. It is not something that anyone should enter in lightly. But as of now, there have been no requests, and that is not in the cards right now.
The protest groups have called for a sit down with your government. They've called for negotiations. They've obviously called for an end to mandates. Is there any scenario in which you'd be willing to negotiate with these protesters to have them leave? We will remain steadfast to the mandate given to parliamentarians 6 months ago in the last election. You will remember that there were very, very clear differences of opinion around mandatory vaccination, around vaccine mandates put forward in that election, and they were heavily debated and indeed protested by some of the main people who are same people who are protesting right now in Ottawa. And the commitment that we made as a government, if we got reelected, is we would stand by science. We would continue to do what it takes to protect people through this pandemic. Vaccinated, that federal public servants be fully vaccinated, move forward with vaccine mandates in federally regulated areas. That is the promise we made to Canadians. That is the decision Canadians took in the last election by voting for parties that were supporting those mandates. So having a group of people who disagree with the outcome of an election, who want to go a different way and bring in an alternative government, is a non-starter in a responsible democracy. That is why we are continuing to fulfill the responsibility that the Canadians gave us in this last election, and quite frankly, continue to stand by the almost 90% of truckers who are vaccinated, stand by the millions upon millions of Canadians who just want to get their lives back and who know that getting back to the things we love requires vaccinations.